Hello, everyone. Welcome to the betting edition of Baseball Insiders. It is once again myself and Peter Dewey. I'm in a little bit of a different spot this time. Muskoka Lakes reporting live. Peter, you're still in your normal spot, still somehow sitting in front of your New York Yankees World Series champions banner. Are you not ashamed by that banner at any point? I'm shocked to see it still hanging in your bedroom.
It reminds me of the good times, man. Sometimes you gotta remember the good times when the times are bad. So that's my reminder. 2009 was a fun time. All these other years that I don't remember as well, also fun times. But 2009 was a good time.
That will be my only Yankees chirp of the show because I think I tweeted it out last week. It's no longer fun for me to make fun of the Yankees. It feels like I'm punching down at this point. Although I will say my Blue Jays are a game out of the playoff picture, so I can't talk too much crap until the Blue Jays, if they do find their way back in the wild card picture. But today's episode, we're going to talk a weekend series between the Dodgers and the Red Sox. So we're doing this a little bit early, a day early. They start their 3-game series on Friday night. And Peter, we are kind of going up against it today because this is for the first time since we've been doing the show, no odds posted for the Red Sox or Dodgers. We do have some pitching matchups, so we can kind of assume what the odds will be, or at least ballpark area. And we are going to try to make some picks for Dodgers and Red Sox. We're also just going to talk Dodgers, Red Sox a little bit. But before we get into all of that, just a couple of quick reminders. Number one, Adam and Robert will be live at 3:30 p.m. Eastern today. So in another 3.5 hours, they'll be live. Jump back on the Baseball Insiders to tune in for that. They will be doing their MLB Power Rankings Top 10 as September looms because, yes, we are entering the final stretch of the Major League Baseball season. And one other quick thing, friends, viewers, bettors. We have an awesome sports betting promo for you from Bet365. All you have to do is deposit $10 and place a $1 wager on any sport. That's all you have to do. You'll instantly receive $200 added to your account in bonus bets, whether that bet wins or loses. That way you can tail the picks we give it on the show, and it doesn't matter if we continue to stink with our picks because even if they lose, you'll still get $200 in bonus bets. All you have to do is use the code BASEBALLIN at sign up, all one word, baseball in. By using our code baseball in, you not only receive the $200 in bonus bets, but you'll also be directly supporting the podcast. So if you haven't signed up for Bet365, join with the code baseball in and place that first bet. Can be as small as a $1 wager. That's it. This offer is available for new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in most legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer. And then finally, if you haven't already, join the Baseball Insiders Discord channel. All you have to do is become a member on the YouTube channel. You'll then get sent instructions on how to enter. And join that. You can chat with all of us, myself, Peter, Adam, Robert, talking baseball here as we enter the final month of the season. There you go. If you're watching this live on YouTube there, you get some instructions there to join the Discord right there in the chat. All right, Peter, let's jump into it. We are talking Dodgers. We are talking Red Sox. I believe both teams still have to play today before they start their series tomorrow. The Red Sox playing the Astros, and the Dodgers are playing the
Guardians. They got 2 against the Guardians because yesterday was suspended, so they have to finish that game, and then they play the other one too.
So let's talk Dodgers, Red Sox. Peter, why don't you start us off? Talk about both of our AL East rival here, the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, Boston comes into this one 4 games back of a wild card spot, but we actually talked about this, Adam and I, on Thursday's episode of Baseball Insiders. They have a brutal finish to the season. They have this 3rd toughest schedule in Major League Baseball. So if they want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to beat some good teams to get there. I guess the bright side is they play some of the teams ahead of them in this wild card race, so chance to make up some ground, but also not going to be many easy games for Boston down the stretch. Over the last 30 days, last month, the team is 13th in OPS, 14th in ERA. Comes into this 6-4 record in their last 10 games. They got Chris Sale back this month, so a little boost to the rotation having him there. But at the same time, this is, like I said, it's an uphill battle with the way the AL West has turned out, with Seattle, Houston, and Texas all one fighting for the division and then fighting for multiple wildcard spots. And Boston being in 4th in the AL East still got some ground to make up to take that last wildcard spot from Toronto. If Toronto gets in, your Blue Jays, or even from one of the Mariners or the Astros. So obviously big game for them today against Houston, then huge series against the Dodgers, because if you get swept, it's going to make it real tough for them to get back in this playoff race.
Yeah, that kind of reflects in the odds here that we'll mention in a little bit in terms of their odds to make the playoffs. But the Red Sox this year, for the most part, the definition of an above-average team, probably at this point in the season, probably not going to make the playoffs, but still do have an outside chance to get in. But they got to get hot. They got to get hot quick. Speaking of the Dodgers, speaking of a hot team, the LA Dodgers, who heading into the season, a lot of people were picking the Padres to win the NL West. There was a point in time when the Diamondbacks were winning the NL West. The Giants have been kind of in contention all year, but the Dodgers have now completely pulled away from the pack. 11.5 game lead on the NL West as they have got hot while the other teams they've been competing against have gotten cold. 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Dodgers are really turning it up here as we enter the final month of the season. Over the last 30 days, 7th in OPS, 5th in team ERA. They've largely fixed their bullpen issues as well since they've got a couple of relievers back from the IL. Second half of the season, their bullpen has been very, very solid. They are still dealing with some injuries, though. Michael Grove, sidelined. He should be back sometime within the next couple of weeks. Joe Kelly's on the IL. He got placed in the IL last week. J.D. Martinez as well. I believe that was just this morning. If not this morning, it was yesterday. He got placed in the IL. So the Dodgers still dealing with some injuries, but have been hot nonetheless. Now let's take a look at some odds for futures here. Dodgers. Second on the odds list to win the World Series behind just the Atlanta Braves, 4-1 plus 400. They are plus 190 to win the National League pennant. Their NL West odds and their playoff odds off the board. That is what we're going to start seeing now as we enter the final stretch of the season, is that these teams who have those completely locked up, you're not even going to be able to bet on them because they have an 11.5 game lead on the NL West with a month to go. And obviously, if they're that big of a favorite to win the NL West, they're also going to be an even bigger favorite to make the playoffs. So you can't even bet on the NL West right now. The Dodgers have all but locked it up. When it comes to the Red Sox, though, 150-1 to win the World Series. 70-1 to win the AL pennant. Things not looking good for the Red Sox. If you, for some reason, still believe in them, I guess you can get some pretty good value. 150-1 is pretty nutty. AL East, even longer odds to win the AL East than to win the World Series. They would almost have to win out. 350-1 for the Red Sox to win the AL East. Really, if you're going to bet on the Red Sox in any capacity, what you're probably going to look at, though, is for them to just make the playoffs. Peter, you're talking about earlier, they still have a shot, a little bit of an outside shot, going to be tough with that third toughest remaining schedule, plus 700, so 7-1 for them to make the postseason. I mean, they're only
down. It's down from last week. They were plus 850 on Thursday when Adam and I discussed it. So there's a chance. It's just they don't, like we talk about, like with playoff races in every sport, like controlling your own destiny. They don't really control their own destiny because there's so many teams ahead of them. Like they need multiple teams to play poorly. Like if it was them and one other team, it'd be like, yeah, well, if Boston just outplays them over the last stretch, yeah, but like they have Toronto in front of them, Seattle in front of them, Houston in front of them. Like there's a bunch of teams that they have to jump to just get into the playoffs.
Yeah, when you look at the standings, they're not that far out, only 4 games back from wild card spot. But as you mentioned, third toughest schedule remaining in Major League Baseball. So if they had an easy schedule,
Might have just lost Ian's audio for a second here. But as he's mentioning, yeah, if they had an easy schedule, there's a chance that Boston can kind of work back in to the playoffs because they have a bunch of easy games. Like say that they're playing Oakland or Chicago, a team that, teams that are kind of mailing in this end of the season. But when you have to play other quality playoff teams who, one, are just really talented or also fighting for a playoff spot, it just puts you in a really tough spot to pick up games in that scenario.
Is my audio back, Peter?
Yes, we do have you back. There we go.
All right. Yes, let's, now that I'm back here, let's talk our bets for each game. We're starting off with Friday night's game. So we are kind of a day early here now. As a result, no odds posted, probably because both teams have to play their games today. But we do have the projected pitching matchup. Looks like it's going to be Cutter Crawford going for the Red Sox, going up against Lance Lynn of the Dodgers. I'm going to assume that's going to... You might see this might be the closest game of the bunch when it comes to the odds because Lance Lynn has been hot for the Dodgers since he was acquired by them from the White Sox, but overall his season-long numbers haven't been great. Cutter Crawford, there's something about Cutter Crawford that I'm going to talk about when I give out my pick, but his overall season numbers have been pretty solid. So, Peter, why don't you start us off? What way you going for game one on Friday night?
Yeah, since we don't have odds, I'm actually going to go with a prop here. I'm going to take the under on Carter Crawford's outs recorded in this game. I'm guessing it's going to be at 14.5, maybe 13.5, but I'd say 14.5 because he did go 6 innings in his last start. He's gone 6+ innings in several starts this year. But at home, he has made 7 starts in 2023. He has not pitched more than 4 2/3 innings in a single start at home this season. He's only pitched more than 4 innings once, and it was in his last home start. So he's really struggled at home. I know Ian has a good stat for his ERA that I'm not going to steal from him here to mention. So he has really struggled at home, hasn't been able to get this. And this is a whole season thing. This isn't like he just made like his first start of the year was at home in April, all the way through his last start, has not pitched more than 4 2/3 innings. That's why I think we'll probably see a 14.5. He has road starts where, like I said, he's worked into the 6th inning. So I don't think it's going to be like a dramatic shift in terms of like we see it at like a 12.5. But even if it wasn't a 12.5, he's only gone over 4 innings one time in his starts at home. So I could see him going under here against the Dodgers offense that's one of the best in baseball this season. So I just think we might benefit as well. The fact that he pitched 6 innings in his last start. I mean, odds makers are smart. They're not going to just lay us like a 17.5 here and just give us a free under because he just doesn't do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they set it at 15.5, 14.5 because he has road starts where he's worked deep into games where you kind of have to, you can't set it at 12.5. If he gets, 4 1/3 innings, he's going to go over that. So I think there's some value in the under here. He just hasn't pitched well at home.
Yeah, I like that bet quite a bit. My bet is kind of centered around Cutter Crawford as well. That exact same reason. His numbers have been very strange from home compared to on the road. So I'm just going to go with the full game over. I would guess it's probably going to be at around the 8.5, maybe up to 9.5 number. I would say, yeah, probably closer to the 9.5 number. I don't think it's going to reach double digits. But as long as, even if you get it at 10 even, still probably like the over 10.5. That scares me a little bit. But I'm going to guess it's going to be at 9.5. Now I'm going to go with the over in this one. Yeah, you mentioned, Peter, I do have these ERA numbers. His ERA on the road, 2.06. One of the best road pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And then when he gets at home, he has an ERA of 5.95. This isn't like a comparison of like 2.5 to 3.5 where they're slightly better on the road or at home. Or like you said, Peter, this is not just a recent thing. This is a full season-long sample size. And it is a huge difference. Almost 4 runs worse at home compared to on the road. So I actually kind of like, if this was actually in LA, I think I'd actually take the Red Sox to potentially pull off the upset in this one. Mm-hmm. But with it being in Boston, I can't bet on the Red Sox with Cutter Crawford on the mound. And I don't really want to bet on Lance Lynn either. He has actually been extremely good. Since joining the Dodgers rotation, 1.44 ERA, but a 3.95 FIP. So I do think we're going to see some regression from Lance Lynn here in the coming weeks. And also, I just can't believe that he's this much better since joining the Dodgers. He had a 6.47 ERA with the White Sox in 22 starts. Now all of a sudden he has a 1.44 ERA. Just putting on the Dodgers uniform isn't going to make you that much of a pitcher just by itself. So I'm going to fade both the pitchers in this game. Also, don't really trust the Red Sox bullpen, which has been bad lately, 21st in bullpen ERA over the last 30 days. So even if the good version of Cutter Crawford shows up, their bullpen still might let them down later in the game. So I'm going to take the full game over. I'm going to assume it's going to be at about 9.5. Let's move on to Saturday's game, 4:10 p.m. opening pitch for Saturday's game. James Paxton going up against Julio Urias, most likely. Once again, obviously, no odds out for this one. I'm going to assume that the Dodgers are going to be significant favorites in this one. I would guess probably around minus 160 with it being in Boston. Peter, what way are you going for this one?
Yeah, so we have similar thoughts on this one. I wanted to switch it up. I'm going to go Dodgers first 5 run line because I just want to look at this lefty-lefty matchup. I think there's a real advantage here for the Dodgers. Earlier this year, I remember us talking on the show, Dodgers hadn't hit lefties well. Well, they've changed that around because now they're number 4 in all of baseball on OPS against left-handed pitching. Boston, on the other hand, is 15th, middle of the pack. But I think the bigger advantage here, just between the starters, I think the Dodgers have a huge advantage. Julio Urias did not start the season well. He ended up going on the injured list with a hamstring injury early in the year. But in 4 August starts, he looks like a guy who would be a Cy Young candidate like many of us expected him to be coming into this season. 25 innings pitched in August and 4 starts, 1.44 ERA, 2.63 FIP. Opponents are hitting just 184 against him. So he's really turned it around in these last 4 starts. And I think Paxton, this is a bad matchup for him. He faced a team in Houston who's also top 5 in the league in OPS against lefties in his last start. Got rocked, gave up 7 runs, 6 earned in 4 innings. Now he's got to face a Dodgers team that hits lefties well as well. So I think this is a game where I like the Dodgers to get up early. I'm not exactly like 100% like out on either one of these bullpens. I just think the biggest advantage comes with these starting pitchers. So we're probably going to see a first 5 run line. I'd assume it's going to be half a run. I'll take the Dodgers. It's basically just Dodgers to have the lead. I don't get the caveat of the push on a first 5 money line, but I think the Dodgers are going to have the lead through the first 5 innings.
Yeah, we have very similar bets. You're taking Dodgers first 5 run line. I'm going to go full game run line for a lot of the exact same points that you just said. The Dodgers have fixed their issues against lefties. Red Sox have struggled against lefties, 27th in OPS against lefties over the last 30 days. Their season-long numbers, this is not just a recent thing either. Season-long numbers, their OPS drops from 765 against righties down to 746 against lefties. And then over the last 30 days, it's 760 against righties down to 640 against lefties. Julio Urias also been great. And as I mentioned with my last pick, the Red Sox bullpen has been stumbling a little bit lately. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Dodgers full game run line. And if they're not winning by the end of the first 5 innings, I'm hoping the Red Sox bullpen will implode a little bit. And then finally, the last game is on Sunday, a matinee game here. With a 1:35 opening pitch. Do not know who the pitcher is going to be for the Dodgers. Tanner, how do you pronounce his last name? Houck?
Houck.
Yeah.
Tanner
Houck's likely going to go for the Red Sox. Do not know who's going to go for the Dodgers. And not only do we not have odds for this game, we only have one starting pitcher. So this is going to be the biggest challenge of this entire baseball season for us, Peter, to try to pick a future game. But let's try to do it anyways. Sunday matinee matchup, Tanner Houck against TBD. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go Dodgers run line here for a couple reasons. One is just a simple numbers game here. Dodgers, one of the best run line teams in baseball, 69-55 coming into today. So Thursday's games against Cleveland. That's a 55.7% cover rate. So not bad. If you're going to hit almost 56% of the time, I'll take that any day of the week. And I think the key here is just the offense for the Dodgers has been better than Boston as of late. Dodgers have been one of their top 3 in almost every season-long offensive category you can find. They've been on fire. And if the Dodgers go to a bullpen game here, I think it's going to be a little shaky because I think the way it would have worked out is it would have been their Tuesday starter. But now, because they have to play 2 games today, I don't know how the bullpens are going to work out.
Right.
But even if they go bullpen game, they got a 3.92 ERA in the pen this season. Boston, as you mentioned, has been really bad out of the pen as of late, 4.03 on the season. And I think there's one key thing with Tanner Houck that I found since the start of May, and he missed some time on the IL. But in April, the Red Sox were 4-1 in his 5 starts. Since May, they are 2-7 in his 9 starts. So have not been winning his starts. He hasn't really pitched well. He has an ERA over 5. So I'm going to fade him here. I'm just going to take the Dodgers. I think they're the better team. And if they don't, win these first 2 games, I think there is a spot where they end up at least taking this 3rd one. So give me the Dodgers. Hopefully they keep this run line streak going.
Yeah, I'm going to go back with the same bet I made for the first game here and just take the over. Just sit back and root for runs, especially with a little bit of limited information here on Thursday for this game. But also, Tanner Houck has not been good. He was missing some time, but he came back against the Astros there last week, or I guess early this week. Pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 walks, which is even kind of more concerning than the hits category. He's giving up 3 walks. Resulted in 3 earned runs. They ended up losing 7-3 to the Astros. So I don't want to bet on Tanner Houck. I'm a little bit cautious about betting on the Dodgers because I don't really know who's going to be pitching for them. So I'm just going to trust both offenses. Obviously, the Dodgers offense has been extremely good lately, but actually what has been even more important for them lately, and it's something I've brought up about the Dodgers in past episodes, is that they've struggled throughout the season bringing home runners in scoring position. They were dead last for the majority of the season, and runners left on scoring or in scoring position per game They have improved in that area over the past month, which is a big reason why they are as hot as they are. Their OPS and batting average numbers are still as good as they have been all season, but they've been a lot better at bringing those runners home, which is obviously going to help contribute to the over, especially if Tanner Houck has another bad start. So I will take the over in game 3. And just to recap our picks here, I got the over in game 1 on Friday night. I got Dodgers run line, full game run line in game 2, and then the over again in game 3. Peter, you're going Cutter Crawford under outs recorded. You assume it's going to be around the 14.5 number. That was correct, right? You said around probably 14.5 outs for that.
14.5.
Dodgers first 5 run line on Saturday, and the first 5 run line means they just need to be winning by 1 game, can't be tied at the end of 5 innings, and then Dodgers full game run line for Sunday. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Peter, any final thoughts?
Oh, I guess I got a question for you. I know I've been not giving final thoughts and asking you questions. Do you think, who would you take out of the NL, Dodgers or Braves right now? Because I'm starting to think more and more Dodgers just because of how hot they've been. I'm wondering if they get the pitching because they've kind of done this entire season without like some of their best pitchers. Walker Buehler hasn't pitched. Dustin May's missed most of the season.
Yeah.
And they're somehow still here. Like Urias missed time, Clayton Kershaw missed time. So I don't know. Who do you think is the favorite? Obviously the odds have the Braves, but who do you think?
I do kind of like the Dodgers a little bit more for that last point that I said, where I think their numbers statistically were just as good as the Braves, or maybe not just as good, but just below the Braves, but they just weren't bringing home runners when they got to scoring position. Now that they've kind of fixed that issue, and they've also fixed their bullpen issues they had earlier in the year, I think I kind of like the Dodgers, especially getting a little bit longer odds betting on them to come out of the NL. So I like the Dodgers a little bit more than the Braves, to be honest, which might be a bit of a hot take because the Braves, most people just assume the Braves are kind of going to go on a run here. But I think the Dodgers are, as sneakily as the Dodgers can be, they are kind of sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think the way, if the Braves end up with the 1 spot, I think just the way the wild card might work out, like the Dodgers would get the winner of most likely the Phillies and the Brewers. I'm assuming that's if we get those 2 wins. Like if Milwaukee wins that series, I kind of love that for the Dodgers. Right. The teams I wouldn't want to face, the Cubs because of their bats, and I don't think I would want to face the Phillies. So I think depending upon how the wild card kind of works out, and also just for the Dodgers, a positive, if they can avoid the Giants too, just because they play them so much during the regular season, there's just, I feel like that's also beneficial. And I mean, the Braves were great last year. They got bounced in the first round. So I'm not completely sold on them. But I think both those teams, those would be my 2 picks to win the World Series. Those, if I'm betting on it, I feel like it's going to be an NL team. I don't know if the AL has a strong enough team to beat one of those squads.
I would agree. The AL, I mean, there's teams with good records, but they're all just flawed, whereas it's tough to find a flaw with the Dodgers and the Braves.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're watching this live, be sure to tune in at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Then Adam and Robert will be going live to Power Rank their top 10. The Toronto Blue Jays better make that list. I'll be tuning in. If Toronto Blue Jays don't make that top 10, I'll be in the chat. Be sure to like this stream, subscribe to the channel, go ahead and bet and sign up for Bet365. Use the code BASEBALLIN. You get $200 in bonus bets. All you have to do is make a $10 deposit and then place a $1 wager on any sport. Could be one of these Braves and Dodgers games. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.